Oh, it did work.
Yeah, oh, it totally worked. We're totally live now, cbear. You didn't believe me. But yeah, after, what, 2-3 weeks, we have finally returned with Fully Charged. I'm not going to be in town next week. Just getting that out of the way right now. So, you know.
No episode next week. Well, maybe we'll do it. I don't know. Depends
Do
on
it
the
without
interest.
me. God, you don't need me here for everything.
No,
But this
it's-
week, actually, I guess we kind of did. Because I went to Valve. And it was fun. So, do we want to dig straight into that, cbear? Do we want to introduce our guest? Do we have any other news going on? What's up?
No. Mix Up versus HRGs tomorrow. If this, I'm sure it'll make it up before the game's played. It will be good. I don't know if our Mr. Guy who might be playing in that game will actually be playing in the game, but I will be casting it, and it's going to be awesome. But other than that, let's just dive right into it, Sal, because we have a lot to talk about. So
Yeah, we do. Okay, so of course we do need to introduce the guest here. We've got Ruwin down on the bottom left. Ruwin of, was Classic Mix-Up used to be at least? Is it still?
Nope, he's on HRG now.
HRG. Okay.
He's a backup.
That was wow. Okay. So
Sorry, bro.
there's that. There's that. All right, moving on.
All right. Moving on, indeed, to Star down in the bottom center. And yes, Star and Ruin are different people. I just want to make
Yeah,
that clear.
I've got my pizza hat on. I didn't think you were actually going to leave that picture there for me, but
Duh.
sure, that's me.
I can see
I'm-
Ruin's lips moving when Star's talking.
I was going to
by the way.
say, it could be a ventriloquist act. You never know.
It's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
One
By the
and
way,
the same.
The thing that comes to mind when I see that, Sal, is the tip of the hats there. That's his own.
Tip of the pizza. Yeah, that's what we got. And finally, of course, the omnipresent Huey Lewis, who has been with us so many times already here on Fully Charged, and he's here to talk Highlander and kind of that side of the reaction. Huey, what's up?
Not much. Happy to be here.
Okay. So,
Sal, why don't we, before we start, kind of break down, because I don't even know. I know you messaged me, and I don't know if you had formally invited me to go or asked if there was anything I wanted to say. So I forgot, but I knew you were having this meeting. Can you talk to people and tell us how this all kind of started? Did you get invited? Did you just say, we're coming?
yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
Frankly, because it was X-Tine. X-Tine's got the contacts. He's been to meet with them several times in the past.
He
And,
lives, like, next to them, right?
Yeah, well, he's in Portland, so it's a couple hours drive away. And I know that Sizer in the past has been to meet with them as well, and Sizer's actually gotten some stuff done, like a couple of years ago maybe, that he got some changes implemented here and there that helps competitive, like the crosshair specs and all that stuff. So he helped, or basically brought it to TF2 team's attention, which is cool.
Didn't know that either.
So that was, I guess that was ostensibly the purpose for the meeting, and I put together a little like meeting agenda. I started. Thanks, cbear.
I think I was going to make that
He
noise.
didn't like what you were saying.
So I
Interruption noise there.
I started from the position of basically, okay, well, it's going to be me and X-Tine and possibly Enigma going, and I guess let's start small and say, hey, here's just a couple of, bug fixes and, spectator HUD helps that you could give us if you want to throw us a bone, right? And I hoped it would be relatively easy changes to implement. And then we added onto the very end of the agenda was kind of the stuff like, in a dream world, we'd have an in-game lobby system. You could choose Highlander or 6v6, and in a dream world, we'd have a TF2 International. So when we actually sat down with the team in a meeting format over in Valve headquarters, which I've got some pictures on my Twitter, it's pretty cool. We tested the Rift and we played some MVM.
Did you?
Yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah, it was a great day. Anyway, we sat down and had this whole like 1 or 2 hour long meeting with the guys, and Robin Walker was sitting in there as well as the rest of the TF2 team. And Robin was more or less the guy behind the discussion, and he was leading it philosophically from a perspective of Dota, because he's on the Dota team now, so he's really working heavily with that. But what Robin was basically saying was, okay, yeah, all this is just code. We can change all this. We can change all this. But and his initial impression was, there's only like 5 or 6 people who really are dedicated to the TF team here in this room that are meeting with X-Tine and Sal. And they have to focus. Yes, I know. They have to focus on. That was my phone was messaging me.
Hey, like a little person there?
Yeah.
Like a midget? Like,
Yeah. What do you think runs your iPhone? It's just a little guy like cranking it.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, the
Little guy cranking it. All right.
These pictures of you guys with the Oculus Rift is awesome, by the way.
it was a fun little experience.
God.
He was saying basically, look, the TF team has to focus their efforts on what's going to benefit all of the customers. Like, they don't want to focus their efforts on something that only benefits a little segment of the customers if it means neglecting everyone else. They don't like neglecting anyone. They don't like the fact that the 6v6 community feels neglected, and they know that the 6v6 community feels neglected. They don't like that. It's just that if they spend their time focusing there, then everybody else is like, well, what's in it for me? So you get a lot of that issue. Robin's way of sidestepping the issue is basically saying, let's do something different, because it's clear that not everybody in TF2 likes the way competitive is currently handled or is, you know, well introduced to it or whatever. So let's take the issue and say, if we could implement an in-game system, but one that was very similar to the current way that everybody plays the game, at pub systems, right? Very, very similar. It's only like at one step removed, so it's just basically a competitive, you know, tournament setting with all of the items introduced. How would we do that such that it could be more competitive, it could introduce people to that aspect of the game and see if they like it, but not neglect everybody in favor of a small segment of the community, so that basically the TF team is helping everyone at the same time. So the way he couched the discussion, and I'm going to couch it that way now, is that the worst thing that could come out of all of this is the TF team wastes a bit of time on this and nobody likes it. 6v6 stays the same, Highlander stays the same, and everybody plays the same game. That is literally the worst thing I could think of that happens here. So I know that people on the forum are very hotly debating this right now, and I've seen a lot of very valid points on both sides of the argument, I want to say. But I want to remind people that, you know, it's not the end of the world if Valve implements a system that doesn't favor what we currently experience in the game right now, and that is in fact not what they want to do. They want to introduce a system that forces people to continually think about the game and make additional decisions about banning, and they want to see a game that is more dynamic even than Highlander currently is. So I was very focused, I guess, on Highlander, but after sending a message yesterday or earlier today, I forwarded a message that Enigma sent me that basically said, well, why can't we still just have a class limit of 6, because 9 people is too hard to get together, but, you know, keep the item system as Valve wants it, so all the items are in play and you can pick ban, blah, blah, blah. Forwarded that to Robin. Robin immediately replied back, yeah, that sounds fine. So it doesn't have to be like 9v9, one of each class Highlander. It just has to be much closer to pubs, is what he was saying. So with that introduction kind of out of the way, is there any immediate questions, or should we go to like more of a reaction mode?
I was just going to say one thing in regards to that. There's actually someone on the forums who brought that up very specifically, said that there'd be a very easy way to turn the system that Valve wants to put into the game into a 6v6 format lobby system, which is just people who queue up for Scout or Soldier or Demo or Medic. If those are the class restrictions or whatever, they can choose from a drop-down, I want to queue for 9v9, I want to queue for 6v6. It's that simple. And then you have the system with like a couple different changes in code. It's probably not that simple, but they're Valve. I'm sure they can handle it.
Yeah.
So ideally, that would be good.
It would. Of course, I think what Valve wants to see is if I want to queue for 6v6, they want to see any class able to do that. So it would actually be more of a question of I'm going to queue for 6v6, I'm going to select heavy, or I'm going to select if it's a different system. So it's like we're going to ban 3 classes at the time the game starts, then I'm going to queue for 6v6 without selecting a class, much like you would in Dota. And then once I'm in the 6v6 screen, we see which ones are banned, and then I pick one after that. And then you would have a totally different setup, right? So it's not going to be 2 soldiers, 2 scouts, normally 1 demo, 1 medic. It might end up being, you know, a pyro, a heavy, an engineer, and there would be a lot of differences between the current 6's setup. So it's much more geared towards the general population of this game and not as much towards the current people who are watching this show right now. Nonetheless, one of the benefits that will come out of that is that the TF team is going to take a very big look at the way weapons are used and the way weapons are banned. So if something gets banned in 95% of all the lobbies they play, they're going to look at that and say, well, why is that?
But
is it because it needs a nerf, or is it because of some other reason?
Well, but then, I mean, you just kind of said it. It's not for the people watching this, or I'll go as far as to say the people that are already established, probably in both of the major leagues, UGC, ESEA, 6s, 9v9. I think that then the balancing will be done from the players that are participating in the lobbies. Although, we need to get, like, there's a call to action in this thread, and Sal, you've talked about sort of what we all can do, the casual player or the person invested
or the competitive
in
player, yeah.
Right. Well, the observer of Team Fortress TV, you know about competitive already. So what can they do to help? And I mean, there's pugs going on right now that are sort of trying out and toying with the different weapons and the system of banning and stuff.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is it what I was saying before the show, and I forgot about that, and I want to go to some more other opinions in a second. But what I was saying before the show, I need my hands on screen. The system is what we're talking about. The individual items that will be banned, Valve is okay with just waiting until I think they're okay with waiting until a system comes out, waiting until they make a release, looking at what people always ban, and then tweaking those.
Right.
Maybe they'll do something beforehand. I don't know.
And the purpose of this is to balance those items.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. All right. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought the whole idea of this was to make the game more dynamic, which is what they want. They want everyone to use every weapon situationally. Correct?
But that is only achieved through having balance, because nobody's going to want to play in a game where you have to ban one item, so they'll nerf that item, or if an item is never banned or picked, they'll have to buff that item to make it to add a real option to variety one way or the other, which I think is actually a really good thing all around.
Well, okay, Sal, you were talking before about one of the pugs, I think someone posted, where one of the teams banned, Girardi and a Razorback or whatever, because the other team had a really good sniper.
And that was their stated reasoning. So that was making a decision before the game about shutting down a sniper.
Is that saying that those weapons are imbalanced, though, or just that...
Well,
no,
and so think about it.
Good, so we have to
think about it from Valve's perspective. Is every game going to look like that? Is a Girardi and Razorback going to get banned in 95% of all games? Probably not. That's a very situational ban pick, and Valve is going to say it's banned in 25-30% of games. We're not really going to look at that too much. So this actually has the potential to be really, really good source of information for Valve. The only stuff that's really going to get banned is stuff that universally everybody reviles and think it's not fun to play against.
Mini sentries.
Mini sentries, maybe. I'm sure Star would disagree.
Well, yeah. There's my next question is, don't we already have that? Like, we have. I mean, I said before, we have leagues that have been active for years now that have whittled down their whitelist. So we already have universal bans based on things that are not fun to play against, or that are kind of game-breaking in some situations.
And this is all initial stuff right now. What we're testing, instead of testing the ban list itself, is we're testing the mode to determine the ban list, right? So what we need to be testing in these pugs is, and everybody needs to be thinking about this, we're crowdsourcing the idea. Everybody needs to be thinking about what would be the best system to either ban weapons before a game, or alternatively pick which weapons you are allowed to use during that game. Make a loadout or whatever. Just think about a system that would work and would make it interesting and spice it up. And yes, so I want to go to that Highlander point real quick, but we haven't talked to Star at all, and he's like the star of the show. So Star, you are.
Yeah, Star, talk to us.
What do you want to know?
What I want to know is, because you do have more of a finger on the pulse of a public community than anybody else here, because you've got a huge following on YouTube where, rather than watch a competitive game and a shoutcast from you, they would prefer to watch you market garden people. And you know that. You know what people like to watch. What do you think people's reaction would be to seeing a big lobby update where they can go add up to a more competitive system like we're describing here?
I think it's kind of a situation of, if you build it, they will come. If you see somebody playing this lobby system and they're enjoying watching it, then they'll say, oh, well, I want to try this now because I've seen that it can be fun. And I think for a lot of people that want to get involved in competitive, they have that desire that they might watch a stream of somebody playing it and they'll be like, that does look fun, and then they completely drop the idea because they just don't know where to start, how to get started, what to do. TF2 lobby can actually be pretty frustrating. I don't know that this would be any different.
Yeah,
right.
But everything really is an external source, and that's the biggest downfall of it all, that if you do want to play it, you need to figure out where to go and how to do it, and what the exact rules of that website or that chat room is.
So I haven't thought about this until Star just talked, and that was how there's no way to ensure that the game itself, the pug itself, or the lobby, or whatever you want to call it, would be fun, because frankly, and I'll speak on all the 6v6 lobbies that I've played in, which are like 30, maybe 5 years ago, whenever the system came out, right? 10% of them were fun. Just you go to a gather, and I don't play those either, but you see one team is heavily imbalanced, half the players at least, probably 9 of the 12 players don't have any fun. So is there any fail-safe, Sal, that you can think of, or anybody else, how to actually make these games more fun than your average lobby, which I think are
Well,
it's just
why wouldn't they be fun? Just out of
Well,
curiosity, like what makes you say that they wouldn't be fun?
Well, here's what.
I mean,
I can
ahead.
throw an example of why I stopped playing lobbies is because
Yeah.
I play Pyro, a support class with people who, if you're not going in with people at your own level, playing a support class with people who don't really know what they're doing on combat classes, it's not fun. You don't really get to do anything. You just get kind of destroyed, or you are either disproportionately overpowered against people who can't handle a Pyro or something that knows how to.
So it's a role, or it's frustrating. I understand, but I think that the large majority of people who are going to be playing in this in-game system are going to be people that do not visit TFTV. They are not currently aware of this community. So, like, yes, it would be frustrating for us, but we're not going to be the ones playing it. I'm not playing it. I'm not going to be involved in testing these items. What is my one vote's not going to matter. It's going to be all these other people who've never touched it and for the first time get to experience something a little more organized than just pubbing. Everyone gets one class and they see it and they're like, well, this is kind of cool. Like, everyone has their thing and I get to play the class I like, and it's fun. I think it's just a way of introducing, and I think I could speak for pretty much everyone. I wouldn't play. I don't know if you guys would play in it, maybe just to try it. I wouldn't do it recreationally. I'll just go to like a Pugna Highlander or TF2 mix-up or whatever. I'd play an invite pug. Why would I do that? So it wouldn't be frustrating for us, I don't think. It'd still be fun for them.
I think you're right. I think 100%. But I still think that I think we're assuming that it'll be a big success based off of.
So the potential for a bad experience exists.
I think
with the way the game is currently set up.
I would agree. Like I wouldn't be planning on playing them either, but at the same time, I still think you're gonna have support classes who might not have fun, like regardless of their own level.
If you get to that,
well, I mean, that's just what you end up with. It doesn't matter how good the support class is. Like they don't have to be someone like a Platinum Highlander player going into play. Like, it still might not be the most fun thing in the world, depending on the overall quality level.
And you're right.
How do you ensure that?
But the thing about that is, if you get to that level mentally where you're going, I'm not really liking the way the team is supporting me right now, you need to start looking to better competitive options. You need to start looking for TFTB. And that's the step up. Once they start getting frustrated, they have that like sentient thought, like, wait, like I'm playing this class, and once you have that thought, you're like, wait, like I'm enjoying this game, and like I want to be better, and that's good. That's a good thing. You move on. So as long as Valve does the job, they're doing their job. But as long as they can like just help us a little bit, maybe put like a link or something and say, hey, if you really enjoy this, there's this great website, Team Fortress TV, for all your needs competitive, and that could just be a small little tiny thing at the bottom. That'd be awesome. Anyway,
I mean, that would be so huge if TFTV was turned. We've always talked about it in countless episodes about wanting to make the TFTV website the central hub for all competitive TF2, not just North American 6v6, but all of it, 9v9 here, everywhere. And if that could happen, just think of the increase. I mean, you load up Team Fortress TV homepage right now and you see our beautiful mugs, right? If we have other people visiting it. Sal, we talked about it in Steam chats, and I said if they just put a link to Team Fortress TV somewhere in the TF2 client, that would be like the biggest thing ever for us. And you said that you actually talked to them, and they have they have a good reason for not wanting to do that, at least.
Right now, yeah. And I'm not saying that they're going to be consistent with this. I don't know if it's going to change, but right now what they basically said was, what Robin said was, we don't even link to streams in Dota just because we don't control if somebody's going to put Goatsy up there. That was literally his words. So
this is what we do usually.
Except a little more Australian.
Yeah, yes. They were his words, not his accent. So ultimately, that right now they're scared about content, and I think that one of the best things Enigma could do, if this update is continuing to roll forward, and if we get good vibes from Valve, what Enigma really wants to probably start doing is clamping down on content and making sure that he very much restricts the any kind of crap that goes on. Not that a lot of crap goes on here, but he probably wants to make sure there's some kind of rule or whatever in place that governs it.
Right. Like an approved streamer list, and those people know if they want to be up on the thing that they're not allowed to say the N-word a lot or something. Or at all, I guess would be more acceptable.
Well, if it's on Twitch, then it'll probably have like a appropriate content. You have to be 18.
Filter,
yeah.
Right.
So if that's the case,
I get their reasoning too. Can't control the content, which is why I think a big reason we haven't gotten our casts over even the I-46. I don't think was put on the blog. I mean, if it was just a little sub link. Just they're afraid that people will tune in. Yeah. It was on the blog?
Yeah, I-46 was on the blog.
Okay, well maybe that's
awesome. I didn't even know that, and I like that. That gives me a warm feeling in my heart, the cockles of my heart.
So I don't know. I mean, that's sort of, I guess, getting a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but if we want to get back on topic, we can talk the ban list. So I think that one really great thing, and Huey suggested this, would be really getting some serious heavyweights in the Highlander community. Huey's probably one, Pudding Cup, Stabby, whoever else who can put their heads together and say, you know, let's make sure we can come up with really good explanations for why everything on this list is banned, and why maybe the current iteration of thinking about this pick ban system isn't optimal. Put together something, and you can send it to me, or you can send it directly to the TF team, because I'm sure they'll look, and just give them that all-in-one concise package that they can sit down and read and say, this will really help us crystallize what we want to do. Right. Publicize it, whatever you need to do. That's going to be an important step to take, because you can help them, if they need to make changes before they roll out a lobby system, they'll have the idea.
Right.
Okay.
Right. No, I mean that makes sense. One of the things that we talked about before we went live was the stagnant. Like, I think that's. I mean, you just paraphrased what you heard from Valve and from Ruwin, so I think people got a little caught up. Didn't read all this forum thread because it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff here.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
There is. I haven't gotten to a Ruwin post yet, which is I will.
I wasn't talking about mine, dude. Mine was garbage. I'm sorry.
Okay. But I think a lot of people in the Sixes community took it as a shot. It's like, how dare you call my game stagnant or whatever, or the meta is not, that's why you don't watch anymore. And I think a lot of people are afraid to embrace change. But Ruwin, you had a really good take, I thought, when we were talking about it pre-cast, when we got in the Skype call, where you, as one of the top players in 6v6, you also feel like it's pretty stale, right? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's sort of...
Don't put words in my mouth. Seymour.
Then you take them back. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Seymour. Sorry, I got something on my mind. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah. So I can actually touch on that. I'd love to. The game has been at its core about the same in the past 3.5 years, where soldiers use gunboats, the medic uses the medic unlocks. That's about it. Maybe the Boston Basher came out. But nothing has really changed. Yeah, we had Bonk for a little bit, and I think the Criticola, that's it. But I think that if we were a little more welcoming of some of these unlocks, just to try them out, see what they would do to the game, maybe make Pyro more viable, which I'm down for. I mean, I think Pyros are downright frustrating to play against, but... I think there's a lot of people in the game that not only play it in pubs, play it in Highlander, that may look up to someone like Huey, who, if he had that opportunity to play in Sixes as a Pyro, they'd love to tune in, they'd love to watch, and then we can, again, work on bridging that gap, which is, I think, what Robin wants to see. He wants to see more dynamism in the gameplay in Sixes. He wants to see us take the items that they're putting into the game and use them and turn them into these crazy, cool things that they never thought they could be.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think. One thing I want to add here, that just Mela had a while there was a team in Siva that they had. Stabby was on the team. They had a Pyro, Heavy, and a Spy at all times. That's what they wanted to do. But they were allowed to do it within Sivo's rules. I subbed for them a couple of times and played just like pickup games and stuff, and the majority of people just refused to play it. Mm-hmm. It's like, even if you can do it, nobody wants to play against that. There's a lot of things in the game that are frustrating for people.
Well, you gotta think...
Go ahead.
I'll let you go, Seabear. I got a lot to say. I got a lot. I'm a very opinionated person. So, you're right. People are used to the way that it always was, and when you threaten what's always been and has been in the past, they get scared, they don't like it, they whine, they complain, and they leave, because that's the way it's always been. I don't like it, I don't want to play with it, and then people just ban it without even touching it again, and it's never looked at again.
There's a different reason for that too. I mean, even if Pyro and Heavy are allowed and nobody wants to play against it, if I were trying to practice for an upcoming game, I would say, I'm not going to be playing against a Pyro Heavy Spy in this game, I'm going to be playing against Vanilla. I don't want to practice against that because it's not a good use of my limited time in the evening. So sometimes there's just that aspect to it too. So this lobby system within Valve, within the game, would open up an entirely new set of people to trying stuff that isn't even tried because people are so used to the way it's played. Not because they're scared of it, but maybe just because they don't have time to really sit down and legitimately try it out in a 6v6 setting with an open mind. So that could actually put pubbers on the metagame, which I know you don't like the term, Ruwin, but could put pubbers ahead of everybody else in terms of knowing what strats and what weapons can be useful in situations.
And there's posts in here that, I mean, there's some good points in both sides of the argument, like you said, in the pregame style, but there's also the thought that, I mean, when it comes down to it, Huey and I were talking about it pregame as well, it's going to come down to you hitting a shot. As far as I know, I get a lot of shit for not knowing all the unlocks and what they do and stuff, but I don't think there's an item out there that's banned that's like a win button. Like, you go with this item and you win, you still have to, like, shoot people or, hit shots, and so skill will still be the deciding factor. It's just how you get there and maybe tweaking how the game is played. Like, I don't think any item unlocks allowed will change the fundamental playstyle of either Highlander or 6v6. Obviously, I don't know Highlander, but I can speak confidently on 6v6. I don't think that's the case. I think people are afraid of change, like Ruwin said. I know when I first read it, I was like, this sucks, man. You look at them, they're crapping on 6v6. I love 6v6.
But remember what I said one more time,
right.
And I know you're about to get to the big but part of it. But
no, I mean, that's I just think that if you really think about it, it's a great opportunity, and it doesn't really change the core of the game. Will still be the same.
ESEA is not changing, right? UGC is not changing. This is just an additional feature that we want to help Valve come up with, which might be a good funnel for people to go the more competitive route and really show what this game is all about.
And not everybody has that competitive bug. Honestly, there's people who just want to come into a pub server and they just want to sit behind their sentry and just whack it for like 10 minutes. And that's what they love doing after they get home from work. And that's cool. But if we can make it at all easier, or I guess just have like some sort of segue between pub to the in-game lobby system to our version of 6v6 or UGC's 9v9, which will be like, that will be our version of sixes, will be their UGC 9v9 to the in-game lobby system. That'll be the next step. They'll go, oh, now I can play in UGC, and then work their way up, and then they can get up to 6v6. Because 6v6 is the top, right? No, I'm just kidding. It's not. They're both great. I love both. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Sal, you were going to say something before.
I don't remember, but I do want to ask, so Star, given your experience on Mela, subbing for Mela's team, right? Mabla.
Mm-hmm.
Mabla.
Yeah. How do you think that would go, like taking a team like that in an in-game setting? Anything's allowed, you can use any unlocks, you can use any set of classes.
It's kind of a really complex problem because I subbed on the team a few times. I just wanted to play Scout in 6v6. So I just wanted to, meat shot the guys, and they all had heavies and pyros, and even to a certain extent, I didn't have fun playing on the team because it was that weird thing. There were a lot of people who, like, as soon as they knew they were off-classing or asked before they accepted the pug, that they just wouldn't play them. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do about that? There are a lot of things in the game where I think, yeah, that would fix it. Actually, you know what? That actually would really help. If you had the Sandman Guillotine combo and you really wanted to try that out, there you go. But I think more so than anything, a lot of 6v6 players are just very scared to try new things. I think the meta of the game is kind of more stagnant just because people want to win, and there's something that people have already found to win. If you go with anything different, what's the point? There's already something that works.
Yep.
I guess if you're already good and people are potentially looking at putting more items, more possibilities into the game where they might not be as good, that threatens their foothold in the game right now. Like, hey, I'm an IM, and next season I'll be an invite, and I'm excited. But if they put in these new items, I don't know how to use these items. I don't know what this is going to do. Maybe people who are worse than me will then be better than me. But that's what they're scared of. That's what the vocal majority is afraid of on the forums, is they're afraid that they might not be good anymore.
Well, a lot of people, too, like, they just look up to Invite or the better teams to see what they do, to see what the meta is, see what they're expected to do in Open because they're playing for the first time, and they take exactly that, and they try to do, I saw this Pyro defense on Badlands last. I'm going to do that every time now, too. But do you actually think that, like, top Invite teams would try these new things out and would, like, bring the Sandman into their game, bring heavies in, or would they even with all the unlocks allowed, would they just stick with what they know?
I think
given what the pot is at LAN and the incentive to win or whatever you have.
I think some teams would try. Some teams that are comfortable losing scrims, trying out new things. Some teams probably, but I think eventually, if you legalize everything in TF2, right now how it's balanced, eventually you would see teams figure out the best way to win based on what's going on. Some teams would just have to copy, and some teams would lead the charge. But yeah, I mean, I think that eventually, if everything were legal, teams would try new stuff until they figured out the best thing, and then they would just do that over and over again.
And everything doesn't have to be legal. You
Right.
know, it doesn't. But
That's what the pick ban thing is for, right? It's really to force you to think about each game. Like, if I want to run a heavy, but the GRU has been banned, you know, what do I do? Should I still run a heavy, or should now I think about running a mini sentry engineer? What if, you know, the mini sentry's been banned? What if the Girardi, which everybody seems to think is a no skill weapon, has also been banned? How are we going to change this? You know, what if somebody bans? You can't really even ban anything off the demo man. He's just too good.
Right.
Or
Do
on
the
stock,
DM style demo.
yeah,
man.
his stock is the strongest.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before, Sal, remember? It's like, could you just ban, like, the stock items? Like, you can't have the sticky launcher, idiot. Like, what are you going to do now? Or you're playing against Mix-Up when Tyler was playing. It's like, you can't have the original.
Yeah.
Your move.
It's a good question. I think that just based on the way Valve kind of philosophically treats their game, everybody has the default and has access, and they don't want to force people to pay for anything.
Right.
So I don't think they'd ever allow banning defaults. But it's an interesting, you know, possibility to entertain.
Right.
Especially because the demo man currently is really strong with just default.
Mm-hmm.
Really strong. So it's something I hope that they will consider. I hope I'm also still live. Am I still live?
You are live.
Okay, yeah,
I think.
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Why did you say like you're live? It was like ugh.
You're like uncomfortably live. Oh, I don't even know where I was going with that. Thanks, Ruwin.
I do that.
No, I think that given we need to have that balanced discussion with Valve before anything's implemented, right? And afterwards, they won't just be taking a look at item balance, but class balance too. And hopefully they'll have some kind of finger on the pulse of the community that says not just this weapon is imbalanced, but also, you know, this class is frustrating to play against. That needs to be a discussion we have as well. Like, it's really frustrating in a competitive setting to play against a pyro, right?
I just don't know how.
They can change a lot of stuff. About
No,
the
I
game
get that
if they
part.
want
I'm just
to,
saying, like, to balance the game around what we think would be completely different than what pubbers think. I think I already said that today. I just there has to be a big sample size, and I feel like there have to be some kind of beta system in place for casual players to be able to balance the game how they want to play it, and not how the TFTV thread clickers want to do it. Because I think that's completely different. So I don't know how.
So what
we're
giving them is advice, and we're saying, here's why we banned the Pomson. Here's why we banned the Beggar's Bazooka. The Beggar's Bazooka in Highlander, it provided some interesting casting moments, I'll tell you that. But
that's the one that shoots 3 rockets.
Ultimately, not fun to play against, right?
Well, I thought, like, the Beggar's Bazooka, along with, like, the discussion about the Wrangler and mini-sentries and stuff like that, it's very map-dependent. So that's one thing I actually really like, the idea of bans before a match or something where, oh, this gun is really, really good on a Koth map, so we can force the other team not to be able to use it now. Mm-hmm. Like, I like that idea. I think that's really cool. I think that's an interesting way to, you know, not have to ban everything on every map, because things are disproportionately good on different maps, I think.
Yeah.
The more I'm sitting here thinking about this, it actually sounds like it would be really interesting if stock weapons were allowed to be banned, because I know, Robin, coming from the Dota team, really a big part of it, why a lot of people probably find those games interesting to watch, is because every single game, it's different heroes on each team, and there's always something new that you can do. But just from your perspective, if there was a game with like HRG and the sticky launcher was banned, Banny can't use stickies or something like that, wouldn't you want to see that game? Doesn't that sound exciting? Like, how are they going to adapt to this? And if you don't want to play against pyros, just ban flamethrower.
Well,
to a public perspective, that's one other thing that Robin has a finger on the pulse of the Dota community, and he seems to see people saying, you know, I'm not going to watch unless my favorite hero is playing. And he thinks that could happen in TF2 as well. I'm not going to watch either unless, you know, I'm going to go look for a game where my favorite class is playing, or I'm going to go look for a game where somebody's playing the Force and Nature Scout, or look for a game where somebody's playing the the back burner pyro, because that's my favorite weapon, and I want to see somebody using that to full effect.
I think,
and so,
yeah.
as it currently stands, as the items are currently balanced, that may not be a possibility. But they want to get there.
Think about, for instance, like, what is sports to us? Sports is we go to work 40 hours a week, we come home, we want to watch some guy who, for 40 hours a week, exercises and plays this game, basketball, football, whatever, and then we want to watch them perfect it, you know, because we maybe don't have the body, we don't have the time, we have a different job, but we want to watch someone else be good at it because we like it. So those players, the pub players who have another job and just play this game recreationally, they want to log on, maybe, and they want to watch somebody who has 5,000 hours on Spy like Stabby, and they want to see him just destroy and do work with his class, the same way somebody would watch their favorite sports player.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, Sal, did spectating, like any kind of spectator system, ever come up when you talked with Valve?
Yeah, we talked some other tactical stuff too, and we can go into that if we want, if you think we're like done with, or if you just want to have some more time to digest all this.
I have one thing to say, just to summarize all that, so everybody knows what kind of page we're on, because I think we're all on the same page, at least in this call. This is a good thing generally. What I think the game should have is just an opportunity to grow, to get more players, and to get those players to competitive, so that it's bigger and more exciting, and that it just continues to grow. And it is growing steadily. It has been, but I think it can grow faster. Exponentially. And I think that this thing that they are doing can only help. And anyone who says that it won't help or is mad, it's like, oh, boo, you're not doing it for sixes. It's the logical thing for them to do right now. Yeah. So,
right. I think at the very least, can't hurt, might help. We've always tried to mine the pub community for prospective players. Countless threads on the Steam forums and everywhere. Like, you must watch competitive TF2. You have to do it. It's so good. Oh my God, we're awesome. And that's just not the way to do it, because it's always the rivalry between the two sides. It's always going to exist. This helps in any kind of middle ground. It will help bring at least a few people who say, well, this is fun. I want to even go further. I'm too good for this system. I want to move to UGC, or I want to try 6v6. And that is a good thing. Yep. And it won't change how you play your 6v6 game anytime soon.
Not until they balance weapons based on feedback, yeah. And that might start changing it. Who knows? But
that would be awesome. So I'm good with that.
But no, ESEA is going to keep things, you know, consistent through the seasons as much as possible, right? Like they always do anyway. So is UGC. So, you know, it's really not going to affect the rule sets for anything that happens. And so the worst thing that could come out of this is that things stay the same, right. And Valve wasted a little bit of time.
So apparently this question was asked in chat, but when you have this many people, it's hard to keep up. Dash Sniper wants to know, did the question of a Team Fortress 3 come up?
Yes. Although I think it was skirted, or they just kind of said no. I don't remember exactly. I just remember we mentioned it.
I can't believe they won't do it eventually. How much money as this game has made?
Because I think they're still making the money on this game right now. They have no incentive to like cannibalize that. My personal perspective, but I don't remember what they actually said, so I apologize. Okay. We only like briefly touched on it, and it was not. Xtine's helped me out here too, but he's also saying Source is very moddable. Anyway, okay, so real quick, there was some other stuff to talk about with Valve. One of them was the spectator stuff. So right. Robin was like, yeah, you know, we could do all that. That's just code, but that's a lot of work, and they have to prioritize what they're doing. So do we want them to work on that, or do we want them to work on the next, you know, like MVM payload, or, you know, whatever it is that they happen to be doing, which that's not that, but, you know, do we want them to work on making a Highlander lobby and everything else flows from there? So ultimately, it's like the spectator system we got now is more or less what's going to be in place. I will say that they sent Xtine and me kind of a clarification email today that was like, hey, you remember those changes you talked about granary? There was like, you know, the light that's only on one side and the fence. What else was there? And we were like, you know, there was a spawn location. We mentioned the spawn locations in one of them that was like the medic would sometimes spawn in the wrong spot. And they responded, oh, yeah, thanks. So seems like you're interested in making a few easily made changes. I
think there's some changes in regards to weapons, too, if I'm not right. Huey, do you know, is there like some weapon that has some bug they keep talking about? It's like a sniper, I don't know. Mate, Huwei Eater, I don't know what
the
it
Bizarre
is.
Bargain?
The Bizarre Bargain.
yeah.
Yeah. I forget what
they
bug
know
exactly
about that
it is.
one.
There's a few different bugs.
They know
Or
about
the
that one.
They
invisible
know about that
model
one.
trick.
Must be a complex bug.
Shadows
Yeah,
through the walls.
There's a reload glitch with a few different weapons right now. It's the reason, actually, the Beggar's Bazooka actually was banned, finally.
There
that-
was.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna make a point when
no.
you're done.
Yeah, it's the reload glitch that exists throughout different weapons that can probably be easily fixed.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Beggar's Bazooka, it makes you not take damage, or not
Damn.
not overload yourself when you're jumping, so it's weird. I don't know.
Okay, real fast, I'll tell just a tiny short little story. Okay, back in the day, in the frontier days of TF2, dispensers plus medic, you would keep an overheal buff. It would never leave.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
have like 300 health on Gravel Pit B roof by just sitting there. If you sat next to dispenser, rocket jump, get 300 health. It wouldn't go down, right? And it was that way for a long time, like months. And finally, Sizer messaged Robin Walker and was like, yo, this is a problem. And then Robin got into a 2-fort server with like 3 of us. I was there, and we tested it out, and he was like, oh, shit. And he fixed it like within a week.
Yeah, that
so
sounds
a lot
like
of these,
him too. It was a pretty good impression.
Right, so I think a lot of, I don't know, did they mention anything about invisible walls or the shadows peeking through?
We didn't bring that up, and that would not have been them mentioning it.
Maybe they don't
That's
even know
something
about it.
Right,
Like,
that's something that we have to put together as part of a document. So basically, Eckstein's pinging me and saying, say this, and I will say it. If we can provide, like I was saying to Huey, a big step one towards competitive document to them that details bug fixes, weapon fixes, stuff they could focus on before they released a lobby that would make the lobby experience improved, they would probably do as much as was easily available to them to do. Some of it they just simply aren't aware about.
yeah.
So if we can get all that information consolidated into one place, have one person look over it and understand it. A thread, yes. Yeah, but I mean, we gotta word it properly too.
Yeah.
We can't just say the Beggar's Bazooka sometimes doesn't do damage to you, and they're like, what? Because they don't have the time to like go in and, like when you're reloading and you're in the air, if you have 3 rockets, it doesn't explode like it's supposed to and do damage to you or whatever. Be specific. So.
Yeah, providing what they really like to see, by the way, with bug reports and stuff, they like to see a demo file with the exact tick of the problem. So if you can reproduce the problem and send it to them, that is probably the biggest help you can provide if it's a real bug, right?
Oh, yeah.
Send it to...
Okay, so
you just include it in the document, whatever, as long as Valve somehow has a way of downloading the file and checking it.
So, okay, well, we're running out of time because we have to let people turn to less nerds and scrim and stuff, whatever they're going to do. So how do we get involved then, right? So we have 550 people plus whoever watches the VOD. So how do they get involved in this process? In this thread, you were talking about, let's get it done by this Saturday.
Yeah, so step
like
one is we're thinking about, setting up pugs, pickup games, to test the different item ban systems and discuss those systems and the drawbacks and the benefits of each. So there is a Steam group, and I'm sure somebody's going to link it in chat if they haven't already, but there is a big Steam group growing right now. It's called Pick Ban Pugs, and I think they've got some Euro-friendly servers and some NA-friendly servers, excuse me.
Yeah.
What?
That was awesome. Keep
And
going.
so I would, if I were you, join that group, join some pugs, or start one of your own, or whatever it is you have to do. And it's basically going to be an honor system agreement, probably, unless you can code up a whitelist really fast. Honor system of how you want to play the pug. And what you're doing is you're testing and saying, okay, we tried only banning 4 weapons, or we tried, only allowing each class to pick 1 non-default weapon, or whatever it is that you think would be cool to try out.
Right.
Or here's a really big part of it. Try something that you think won't be cool. Right? This is where hypothesis testing and scientific thinking actually comes in. Try something that you think would be utterly awful. And get everybody to try it with you and tell them, hey, this is probably going to be awful, but since we're testing and we're pushing the boundaries, this is how we do it. Try something that you think would be dumb and then report that. And if it was dumb, then okay, you spent some time doing something that was dumb and you confirmed it. If it wasn't, then you're suddenly like, oh, that gives me a new idea. So that's what we're after, right? Join these pug groups, play in a pickup game or two that has a totally weird setting on it for how you pick and ban something. That's the biggest thing you can do. And then report out. So there's a thread on TF2 called the AAR thread. You can look it up on the general forum, I think. Or you can just post in Reddit or your experiences. Find an existing thread, whatever you want to do. Report it so people know. The other thing you can do is get active on the TF2 forum and make sure that people know your thoughts on the item systems, the pick ban systems. You can have that discussion. And I am now drawing a blank, so I'm done.
Like the soldier from the map.
Bug fixes. Right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Really, I think something a lot of people would like to see at this point too is just because of how much this idea is being tossed around and how different it sounds. Like, just get 2 teams that are willing to cooperate and cast a show match where they try and screw each other over with bans.
Yeah.
That sounds good. That sounds fun
That
to
would
watch.
be fun.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone who would disagree that it wouldn't at least be fun to try.
That would be awesome. I would say it's happening this Saturday. I'm not going to be available to cast.
You're not going to be there, but it's happening.
I'll be flying, but it's happening now, and TFTV is going to make it happen. So there you go. The pick
Star,
man,
I believe.
the
I'll
pick
cast
man
it with you,
pug.
man.
There you go.
It's all you, though.
All right.
Now you just have to find the teams to play.
Oh, that won't be hard. Ruin, go get him. No. Okay.
Delegation.
So, then the matter of the document that you were talking about, or sort of, is there going to be someone that's kind of, are you going to continue to be like the liaison between the consensus and kind of whittling down the important bits that are going to be sent off to Valve, or is it just everyone?
Well,
kind of
what I've
fire
done
at
is,
will until something happens.
I've sent them the threads, the important threads that I think are good for them to read. They probably don't have the time to read all of them. So if whoever starts, I don't necessarily have to be the one to start it, but if you start a good bug thread where you just collect all the information in the top post and everybody posts something new and you post that, or why this is fun to play or not fun to play against, or whatever it is, start a thread like that that has really good detailed information. I will bring it to their attention if they're not aware of it already.
Okay.
So I can do that.
Cool.
I would prefer not to be like the filter that Valve sees it through, because I have my own biases, right? I think that it should basically just be collective wisdom in a big post somewhere. So hopefully somebody starts that off. I'm going to have to go like pass out and then wake up and do more crap. And people can holler at Xtine as well. Xtine has just as much contact with the TF team or more than I do. So there you go. Or maybe Sizer. I don't know if he still talks to them. He talks to Robin.
Does Sizer still have every game on Steam?
Probably. I don't know. Okay, we got to give away hats and stuff. I got to thank you guys.
I was thinking about it.
Okay. I'm sorry. cbear was thinking, guys. Hang on. Hang
I
on.
know, I
Everyone stop what you're doing.
I always give I have a thought. I don't know if
This is important.
I have to make a call, and it has to be like 10 minutes ago, so I don't think I can do hats. Unless you want to do it.
No, that's fine.
Okay, cool. We'll do it next week. We'll have an episode either way, even if Sal's not here. I'll get all
breaking new ground here.
I'll be in Indiana.
No, he did it once before. Sorry, guys. I know everyone likes hats, but
550 viewers? You're screwed. Get out of here. No hats. But I really do want to thank you guys for mostly last minute.
All right, you know what? We'll do one giveaway for hats. All right. While you're wrapping up, let people do shout outs, and I will give away many hats to one person.
This was
cbear.
Yeah.
Very quickly, hold up your drink.
It's Diet Mountain Dew.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew. Just kidding.
Thank you. That's the sound of one hand clapping right there. So we'll start once again with the illustrious Ruwin, one of the best scouts, medics, and all-around players in the world, and very well spoken tonight. Ruwin, thank you for your discussion. What shout-outs you got?
I want to shout out to everyone who has believed in me. My mama, Team Fortress, everybody in the community. I don't know how I just transitioned into like... Yeah, it believed in me. No, I want to thank the community. I want to thank Mix-Up, everyone on Mix-Up, Brad, the man, the big man, HRG. They've been very welcoming, very nice crew. And I'd also like to... Can I plug something? One thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be looking at putting together a stream entertainment profile for everyone. I want to do demos. I want to do things that help the community, like team coachings and things for you guys to enjoy. So that's what I'm going to be. Keep your eyes peeled. What does that mean, keep your eyes peeled? Like actually peel your eyes with a potato peeler? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Is
no,
like
your lids, right? You want to keep your lids like peeled away
That's
from
weird.
your eyes.
I wish I didn't use that.
I know.
That.
It's really gruesome, actually.
Yeah.
That's all right, though. No, it worked. Thank you very much, Ruwin. Of course, check out his stream coming up. It's going to be awesome. Star, you actually brought up like the best question of all at the end, which is, are we going to have a show match? I love it. Thank you for participating and for being one of the most insightful in this discussion. I was the least. I'll take that crown.
Second.
So, Star, shout-outs.
Shout-outs? I never have any shout-outs prepared. And Seabass has always yelled at me that I've never shouted him out, but he's like... He's gone. I don't know, girls or something. So I can't even do that. So I don't know.
Well,
Shout out to everybody in the stream. That's all I got.
All right. And thank you once again. If there's anything else you'd like to plug, like, you know, the fact that you have a giant YouTube channel and you market garden people all the time.
All I want to say is that I hope that the show match idea isn't just like, oh yeah, that was a fun idea and everyone forgets about it. Like, I really, just from like a spectator's perspective, I want to see it happen.
I want to see it too.
I don't know where, when, who, but yes, please.
Saturday. Okay, and finally, Huey Lewis from the Highlander perspective, and one of our men who is hopefully going to be providing a lot of good feedback to Valve with regards to what is fun and not fun in competitive TF2. Shoutouts.
Yeah, shoutouts to my current team, Pepperoni and Cheese, all my old teams, Jamboree and U-Force, Runaway 5, who have invite in the bag, pretty sure. Yeah, all my stream viewers and all the viewers here tonight. Thanks.
Speaking of Pepperoni and Cheese, Star, I love your avatar tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Tip of the crust. All right, Sal, instead of just cutting the stream and going back, I'm only going to do one giveaway, kids. We do it at the end. We usually cut it, so if you're watching on YouTube, it's the first taste you've ever gotten of the hat time. I've already randomized. I have a winner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give away, is there, like, I feel like for the occasion we should do, like, some kind of a gift hat or something from one of our guests, but I don't want to put anyone in the position to do that. I can give you gift wrap if someone wants to give something. We do like a combo 3-man item thing.
Okay.
Like, no, either that or I'll just, okay. You'll get something good, okay? So I have a winner. I've randomized your name. I took everyone who's watching, and I put them in a randomize engine, and the winner is, and I'm kind of afraid of this because the word troll is in here. I gotta do this quick because
your ride's here.
He has to call his parole officer. That's what it is.
Okay, so the winner is the Gamer Trollox. The Gamer Trollox. You've won something good. Either 3 hats from me or some combination of our guests and stuff. If I'm allowed to do this before.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fine.
imagining the picture of, you know, the lol I troll you face, right? Except that it is literally an ox who's like, you know, got tears streaming down his face. Whatever. All right. Anyway, the Gamer Trollox. Did he respond?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Everyone's freaking messaging it's rigged. Yeah, right. It's rigged.
Rigged. Okay, yes. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching Fully Charged, where the giveaways are all rigged and we have discussions that don't matter. It's been awesome with all of our guests. cbear, it's been less awesome with you, but you're still here, so thank you. And cbear, any last words, by the way?
No. We'll see you guys next week and tune into the cast tomorrow. HRG versus Mix-Up. It's going to be good.
I asked if you had last words, and you said no, and then you went with last words. I mean, all right. Okay,
famous last words. See ya.